Buddy, and welcome back. Yes, I adjusted the camera. Yes, I look a mess. And yes, my shoulder blades are out. Do you want to fight about it? Today's sponsor is sponsored by your one and only Wingstop. That's a lie. I eat Wingstop and I feel extremely bloated, but that's not what you're here. You're here for juicy stuff. Today, we're going to pivot slightly different than I normally do. A little juicy gossip. What you know or what you don't know is totally up here. Totally fine. We're going to talk a little bit about cryptocurrency and coins. You may be wondering, what does that have to do with anything? Well, let me tell you some stories I've seen on TikTok and some things I've seen recently about the concerns people have with this big scandal happening. By scandal, I mean cryptocurrency scams. If you don't know what I'm talking about, we're going to get into that. One of the biggest crypto scams, there's two of them kind of simultaneously. One doesn't have a full story yet. The other one, if you don't know, is the Huck to a spit on that thing girl. She went viral a while back. Let's break into her scandal and let's talk about how it affects with cryptocurrency. Let's get cracking. Here's the breakdown. I have it laid out for you all, sis. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google Huck to a girl. You'll figure this out. We're going to break it down together though, so don't worry about it. The phrase Haktua, often spelled Haktua, online burst into popularity around the viral TikTok interview mid-2024. Around June 2024, the 21-year-old Haley, which was interviewed on Nashville Street by a TikTok channel called Timid TV, Timid, I'm not going to say that right, who asked, "What is one move in bed that makes a man go crazy every time?" Which she abruptly said, "You gotta give them that hawk tool and spit on that thing." Okay, the colorful answer suggesting some type of technique, I won't say what, and immediately caught views. It caught a ton of views. It caught a lot of attention. The video spread rapidly across TikTok and other platforms during the Haktua into catchphrase associated with anything, everything. It blew up. Out of all the things to blow up, by the way, I was not expecting this. I remember seeing the original TikTok, crazy enough. So let's look at the viral frame and public reaction. So her last name, by the way, is Welch. Welch's bold response quickly took over social media, making her known as the Haktua girl. The clip widely was shared and shock value and humor, spawning countless of memes, remixes, reaction. TikTok users created property skits, lip syncs, and even some music remixes referencing Haktua. While the phrase became a trend and tribute on the app, on other platforms like Twitter, aka X, and Instagram may have found a candidate tip hilarious and overpowering, turning Haley Welch, my bad, into an overnight internet sensation. Okay. She was immediately brought into the spotlight, and later she admitted she was even embarrassed to death what came out of her mouth that week. Clips of her were going viral. I mean, she was literally blowing up. She says, "I literally felt embarrassed to death after saying what I said that week. Despite the embarrassment, she capitalized on the fame. In the later half of 2024, she leaned on the Haktua persona while launching merchandise and brand collaborations. Merchandise and brands reached out to her. Okay, keep that in mind. They reached out to her because she had a vision, something that she believed would make it big. Okay, which is kind of crazy to me. Let's continue. So she is launching full-blown merchandise as well as brand collaborations. Fans could buy t-shirts, all sorts of editions of Haktua that she embraced and she capitalized, which, you know what, make that bank girl I would too. While she faced some negative comments for people dismissing her of just having a 15 minutes of fame, she shrugged off the haters, noting that many left those hateful remarks were ironically following her. People who were hating her were following her, and overall the public reaction of the Haktua was one of the most amused things in this setting for a long time. So let's get into the crypto launch. By late 2024, Haley Welch's internet stardom took an unexpected turn into the world of cryptocurrency. She later started a podcast series where she was interviewing TikToker after TikToker, influencers, so she was making bank. Some reason she gets mentioned in talks about starting what's called meme coin, named after her phrase Shaktua with a money sign, so Shaktua, promoted with the slogan there that wasn't just another launch, but a whole project that refined by the crypto space. She said she was heavily influenced by cryptocurrency and the idea that her crypto followers and fans could invest money. So she wanted to capitalize and bank this in a safe environment doing so. Not to mention, she also launched a dating vice app, an app literally created to help people find the perfect relationship, which was, by the way, created by an AI company who later, when they got to talking with her, and the Hawk to a podcast and everything, later helped create her this channel. So let's break down what we've known so far, starting from the bottom top. Beginning of June 2024, she blows up on social media. She storms in the social media influencer world by literal storm. I mean, she is everywhere. If you did not watch anything with a skit, you were living under a rock at this point because she was literally everywhere. Before December hits, so sometime between June and December, she launches all this merch, including her podcast, which does really well on YouTube. She has a good following, she's pumping out content, and now we step into the world of the deliciousness of cryptocurrency launch. So now we're back in December. The launch on December 1st, 2024 was instantly, the shock price exploded out of the gate. The token's market value surged onto an astonishing 490 to $500 million market. She capitalized this within hours. Many of her fans and investors eager to be part of the Haktua craze bought in early amid into this frenzy. However, this opulence was short-lived. Just hours, shock crashed dramatically, plunging about 90 to 95%. We're talking big money. Okay, she launched it, skyrocketed, and crashed 95% in a single day. Get that in mind. One chain analysis later shows that suspicious activity on a smaller cluster of crypto wallets controlled roughly 80% of the token, supplying it as well as doing trades, and optimists, aka snipers, snapped a large amount of the shock seconds after the launch, then dumped the token for profit, causing the price to tank. Early buyers trying to sell funds to fund the value is now they're in complete utter shock. These people who bought into it. And the effect, what started the meme token shockerizing, I'm going to call it shockerizing, okay, to the moon, which ended in a crash wiping out the investments made by Welch's followers. Backtrack. Market crashes completely. Their money gone, wiped. Let me tell you what I said in the beginning about crypto being crypto. Y'all are gonna hate me for that. Cryptocurrency being scammy. The biggest problem that people have had with crypto's coins and usage is how easily it gets corrupted and how easily that money vanishes to the founders and investors. Like in a pyramid scheme, you have the person in charge. In this case, Haley Welch is in charge of these investments. She majorly crashes it. What we just talked about, meaning someone took that money and snapped it away from these investors to the phrase to the moon, which ended in the crash wiping out the investment made by their followers. So investors, people who follow her, companies invested money into her to start this $490 to $500 million company. The absurd collapse token quickly turned Welch's feel-good viral fame into a fully blown controversy. Many who bought the coin felt cheated and they were outraged, accusing the project's bankers as a classic dump and pump scheme, which a dump and pump means they take all the revenue that social media was flooding in and they capitalize and cash out quick. And then they crash. Not too long ago, a pastor did this where they created a currency in God's name to help create and invest into this. The term is called rug pull, became a very common term in discussions of the initial events of crypto. Tracking sites noted that the shock appeared to have been a victim of pug roll, where they get swept away from their essential fundings, basically. On TikTok, users who once celebrated the Haktua meme began posting critical videos about the Haktua coin scam on Twitter, on TikTok. It was crazy. It was going viral. One viral tweet from her says, Haley Welch announces she is going to bed after Welch abruptly left a live discussion about the coin's collapse. So if you didn't know, she was called out. She was invited to, I believe, some type of channel where they asked her in a Discord chat and on Twitter too, they asked her about the crypto, and she basically just said, guys, I have to go to bed. I'm cutting out of the conversation. She ended the call and the conversation after it was brought up about her failures. Here's where her story gets juicy. Mid-December 2024, a small group of investors who had a attorney set up, not an attorney, but a whole legal action came to be, lawsuit in New York over the shock disemboweled scandal. Okay, this was then titled by New York Times as the unlawful promotion and sale of a secret society establishment of this shock coin that had, by the way, no value and instantly lost all of its funds. New York gets involved now. We're talking big money legal action is now taking place. There's a new name entering the building. We have a target called Over Here Ltd. They are the platform who issued the coin. Similar to cryptocurrency and coins, people who invented that and people who invested their money into crypto basically did similar things in the sense of when they set up their coin, they marketed how to set up a system where you could cash in quick. When you go into investments and you invest money, usually what happens is it takes years to build up revenue over years. That's why people invest in an IRA and certain retirement funds and communities, because they're wanting to build up investments. These crypto coins seem to hold so much value considering they aren't worth squat. We have seen cryptocurrency slowly fail over the years, bump up a little, but then disappear in revenue due to the fact it's just not sustainable. So now Haley Haktua is now in hot water. The lawsuit is another thing. DC Hollywood, an influencer named Alec, talks about the whole scandal and the promotion of the coin and how these lawsuits are going to come to play. The lawsuit claims that these parties hyped the shock through aggressive marketing, even on her podcasts and noble guests, to drive a special frenzy only for the token to crash almost immediately. In some, which had begun as a goofy TikTok meme, had now morphed into allegations and serious financial scams, leaving Welch's reputation in shatters. Imagine being at the top of your game and now being reduced to ashes. Okay. After the controversy raged, Haley Welch is largely disappeared from public view. After December 4th, the token launch and fallout, her usual active social medias went silent. No new podcast episodes after December 3rd, 2024. No new Instagram posts for weeks. No new tweets until you come on December 10th, when she finally broke her silence addressing the situation. In the post on Twitter/X, Welch told her fans that she was taking in the matter extremely seriously and promised to fully cooperate with the legal process. She quotes, and this is from her, I want to address my fans, the investigators who have been, the investors, who have been affected, and the broader community. She wrote, explaining how she is committed to helping. She wrote, explaining that she was committed to being helpful and honest in the truth to uncover what happened. She holds responsibility for wants to be accountable and resolve this matter. Welch even directed those who lost money to connect the law firm handling the case, signaling that she was not trying to hide from her followers. Even though when you disappear for weeks on end, girl, that means to somebody that you are hiding the truth. Despite this public statement, Welch's absence remained notable. She was in a vanishing act spawned in her own mini tied up TikTok fame, posting about, what happened to the Haktua girl. Here's where it gets a little more interesting. We get into now the beginning of 2025. Media outlets also highlighted her low profile. By late January, Welch has yet to return to regular content creation, leading on outlet to note that she has mostly disappeared from the internet after the crypto debacle, as well as the victims and everything else she left. The talk tour became to an abrupt end. However, we get into recent times. In February 2025, Haley Welch resurfaced from the utmost out of nowhere kind of thing and just kind of blinked out on the controversy. She released a comeback episode called Talk Tua Podcast after about 2 months of hiatus, featuring herself, her lawyer, and among that, some crypto community. So she's bringing in 3 other people in this. In this emotional episode, which broke Welch down in tears, returning of the saga, she distanced herself from the blame, saying she never intended to scam anyone out and she trusted the wrong people. Here's what she did. She became so famous and she became so eloped with overwhelming amounts of online social media presence that she didn't know what to do, which later caused this uproar of fame, which then degraded her to the point where she couldn't come back to social media for a while. I don't think 2 months is enough for someone to try to disrupt the fact that you destroyed millions of people's money in the process. She later goes on, if you want to read her own podcast, about how she didn't know about crypto and she was trying to, just launch something new, something fresh to the people of our generation and blah, 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 blah. Okay, it goes on and on. The damage is still done. The thing she did is still done. For now, Welches appears to be in a damage control mode as she has pledged to rebuild trust with her audience, though these statements are unclear. As of now, we have total uncontrol of crypto. Here's what I asked about why cryptocurrency is kind of a scam. Though crypto is groundbreaking innovation with potential in finances, it's highly skeptical for the fact that it can also lead to major scam people getting involved because it has such high risk and such threats to change. It doesn't do well. It doesn't develop better for people overall. So just got to do what you got to do and scam people out of their money. Basically, I wanted to pivot because this leads into another quick segment, a 2025 Project 2025 that came out a while ago in the beginning of even Joe Biden, at the end of Joe Biden's presidency into Donald Trump's presidency, a lady who on TikTok decides to start a what if we change our own 2025 project. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there's this lady who's going viral currently. Excuse me. She said Black Lives basically matter kind of 2025 project. She creates her own, get this, cryptocurrency to her friends and followers to help launch the project. The project she was trying to aim for sounded nice. The idea of creating her own people, our own group of individuals like her, she was saying, in the sense that she wanted people like her thinking on this project differently to change for the better. People of minorities who weren't being heard. So she is, getting money. She started actually GoFundMe that raised over $100,000. The problem she has, however, is when she creates her own cryptocurrency system. That's where suspicions and eyeballs raise on that. If you want to watch more, go to TikTok, look her up. I believe you can look up Black 2025 Project and it should pull up what I'm talking about and for what I heard. So here's why these things are seriously need to be talked about. The scam artistry that these people are doing with your money. Okay. It's crazy. It's honestly mind-boggling and mind-blowing. And the Hokuto Girl is a great example about when things become too big, you try to go big or go home, and you end up going home to court. At this point, lawyers are still being investigated to the Hokuto Girl, so we'll see if any updates. Pivoting into my normal content of what I normally post, this was just a great story about what happens when you try to scam people. To conclude, I'd like to give a shout out again to Wingstop. You have blown up my stomach. The food was delicious. I still have leftovers. I didn't realize when it said $3.99 for your cheese, the large, I got like a huge tub now, but I will be using that. My name's been Josiah Riggin, and if you like this, please watch more of my other videos. I also upload on YouTube called The JoJo Show. JoJo Show, THE, JoJo Show. Put the in there because it's capitalized. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. And remember, stay safe and stay away from scams.